Hi, this is part 2 of the TF32 software tutorial. If you haven't yet listened to part 1, make sure you do so that you can learn how to bring a sound file into the program and do some basic time and amplitude manipulation. What the purpose of this tutorial is to introduce you to simple ways of making amplitude and time measures on the waveform. As I mentioned, we have cursors, the left and the right cursor we can use to expand or contract the view. We can also use those cursors to place them in places of interest in order to get measures of the instantaneous pressure, amplitude, and also to make time measures. We have three little boxes here, one here, and one over to the right. And each of these provides different kinds of information regarding time and amplitude. If you notice, I'm going to expand our time scale so that we can look more carefully at a portion of the speech signal. And this lower window provides the user with the instantaneous amplitude of the sound pressure waveform at the cursor that you happen to be manipulating. So for example, if I go in here and I click to place my left cursor, we can see that at that moment, or at that exact time, the amplitude of the signal is minus 2.255 volts. And as I drag this along, you can see that it's changing instantaneously as the pressure variations change. And that's quite useful if you want to measure, for example, the peak amplitude of a oscillation of the waveform. In this case, I just grabbed that peak amplitude, 1.698 volts. Notice that there's also a number at the top in this box just above it. This is telling you what the exact time value is of the left cursor location from the beginning of the file. So we know that at 823.25 milliseconds in from the beginning of the file, the amplitude is 1.698 volts. And so you can use that often to do a variety of things, including setting up indexes that you might want to use later to do further analysis. Notice also beside the upper box there are two small buttons, and these buttons refer to the left and the right cursor. Right now we are using the left cursor. You notice that it's denoted by that left hook. We see that left hook up here to show you that we are making measurements with the left cursor. If I place a right cursor here, notice that this changes, and now we're getting the time measure and the instantaneous amplitude at the location of the right cursor. We can switch back and forth and get the different time and amplitude values. Now, many times in speech analysis we are interested more in the duration of a particular event, and so not so much what the time value of the left and the right cursor is, but what is the duration between the left and the right cursor. And that is calculated automatically for you and is placed in the upper right box here. So as you move and identify, for example, a region of interest, we can see here that the distance between the left and the right cursor is 88.25 milliseconds. The TF32 also provides you with a frequency measure based upon this, assuming that this is some sort of measure of periodicity. So for example, if you wanted to measure the period of an oscillation here in the voice source, you would see that this period is 9.6 milliseconds, and it automatically calculates the frequency is 103.9 hertz. So there's a lot of information available here in and around by just using and manually making measurements with the cursor.